There comes a moment when you realize you've been holding your breath for years, when the life you built, the one that was supposed to make you proud, feels like a room with no air left in it. You smile when people ask how you're doing. You say, "I'm fine." But inside, something quiet is fading. Maybe you've given too much, stayed too long, or simply grown tired of pretending that this version of you is enough. And yet, even in that exhaustion, there's a small flicker that refuses to go out, a question that whispers, "Is it too late to begin again?" If you're listening to this, pause for a moment. Write something down, not for anyone to see, but to mark the place where your courage starts breathing again. Write, "I'm not done yet." Because you aren't. That ache in your chest isn't proof that life has passed you by. It's proof that something inside you still wants to live deeply, honestly, on your own terms. And that's where this story begins. I still remember the sound of the rain that night. It tapped against the window of a small, dimly lit room on 56th Street. A room that smelled of dust, ink, and cheap tobacco. I was 30, tired. And though I didn't know it then, I was standing at the edge of my own rebirth. I was selling motor trucks for a living, even though I didn't care about trucks at all. Every morning I woke with a headache and the taste of defeat. The dreams I once held, to write, to teach, to live a life that mattered, had turned into shadows. There were nights I sat on the edge of my narrow bed, watching cockroaches scatter when I reached for a tie. I told myself, maybe I've missed my chance. Maybe it's too late. But that night, I did something different. I stopped running from the truth. I faced it. I whispered to myself, "Dale, you hate this life. You're not living, you're surviving." And in that silence, something unexpected came over me, a strange calm. I realized something simple but powerful. If you're still breathing, you're not too late. So I quit the job I despised. I gave up what little security I had and decided to start over with nothing but my voice, my curiosity, and a very shaky kind of hope. It wasn't courage that night, not really. It was desperation. But from that trembling step, courage began to grow. People often ask me, "Dale, how did you find the strength to begin again?" The truth is, I didn't find it. I built it, one uncertain day at a time. We're taught to treat time like a ruler, neat inches, even marks. But the heart isn't a ruler, it's a compass. It doesn't measure distance, it seeks direction. And the moment you turn that compass even a few degrees, the whole landscape of your life begins to change. We confuse age with ending, because clocks are louder than whispers. Clocks insist, whispers invite. The whisper inside you says, "Not this," or "Try that." It doesn't argue, it simply points. The trouble is, we've learned to trust the clock and ignore the whisper. A new beginning rarely feels like a beginning. It feels like loss. Loss of the familiar costume, loss of the excuse that kept you safe, loss of the role you thought you had to play to be loved. That sting you feel when you tell the truth about your life, that sting is not failure. That's skin meeting air for the first time in years. We also misunderstand regret. People think regret is a verdict, guilty. I see it as a visitor. Regret knocks to tell you there's still time to do something that matters. If you listen, thank it for the message, and then act, regret leaves. But if you make it tea and give it a chair, it moves in and names the room after itself. Another confusion. We wait for confidence as if it's a permission slip. Confidence doesn't come before action. It arrives after. Courage goes first. Confidence follows later, carrying the press release. And perfection. Perfection is that neighbor who leans over the fence, criticizes your garden, and never plants a seed in their own. If you're going to start again at any age, you have to choose. Would you rather look perfect from the sidelines or be joyfully messy on the field where life is actually played? You might say, but what if I fail? You will, and then you'll learn, and then you'll fail differently, which is another word for progress. Growth isn't one dramatic victory. It's a collection of small, slightly better attempts. When I began again, I had no plan. I went to the YMCA and offered to teach public speaking. They said no. They told me, businessmen won't pay to learn that. But I insisted, let me try. And on those first nights, I watched people, men who had lost jobs, women who had lost hope, stand up and speak. Their voices shook, their hands trembled, but their eyes lit with something sacred. It wasn't about eloquence. It was about coming alive again. Each of them reminded me of one simple truth I carry to this day. When you speak what's truly inside you, you wake something that's been sleeping. Your courage. We all face moments that seem impossible. Divorce, failure, the loss of someone dear, a career that collapses after decades, and in those moments we whisper, it's over. But here's what life taught me. Nothing is ever truly over, unless you decide to stop growing. When I wrote How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, I didn't write it for the successful. I wrote it for the broken, for those sitting in dark rooms thinking it's too late to change. I told them, and I'll tell you now, live in day-tight compartments. That means don't open yesterday's door, don't peek into tomorrow's. Just live this one day clean and whole. And when you face your troubles, face them as I learned to face mine. Ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? Prepare to accept it, then calmly do everything you can to improve it. That's not philosophy, that's survival, and it works at 20, at 40, at 80. Imagine your days sealed like a ship's watertight bulkhead. If one compartment floods, a mistake, a harsh word, a setback, the whole ship doesn't sink. You move to the next compartment, do the next right thing, and your vessel keeps sailing. Here's another truth. Attention is your most valuable currency. The world is noisy, and noise is not neutral. It taxes your courage. When you reduce noise, you don't just gain peace, you free up energy to invest in what matters. For any new beginning, attention is oxygen. Without it, even the bravest plans suffocate. And remember this: identity is a choice practiced daily. You are not only what happened to you, you are what you repeatedly do. Choose tiny actions that declare, I'm the kind of person who, and finish that sentence with something small enough to do today. Each repetition lays a brick. Lay enough bricks, and one day you'll realize you're living in a new house. Starting over sounds poetic until you have to do it. Then it's terrifying. So let me give you something practical. 7 doors you can open wherever you are. Door 1. Face it honestly. You can't rebuild what you refuse to look at. Ask yourself, what am I pretending to enjoy? Because the moment you stop pretending, you start to heal. Exercise. 2 columns. Left, things I'm pretending are fine. Right, what's true. Truth loses its fangs when you see it on paper. Door 2. Write it down. Buy a small notebook. On the first page, write your chief desire, the one thing that truly stirs your heart. A dream unwritten is just a whisper. A dream written becomes a seed waiting for water. Exercise. Title a page, What I Want More Of. List 10 things. Circle 1. That's your North Star for the next 30 days. Door 3. Do one small brave thing today. Not tomorrow, today. Because readiness is a mirage. It never arrives. Action comes first. Courage follows. Set a 3-minute timer. Do something that moves you toward your circled desire. Not research, movement. When the timer ends, say, I'm the kind of person who starts. Door 4. Build day-tight routines. Goals excite us. Routines shape us. Start simple. Morning, read your circled desire aloud. Write 1 sentence. If today were my whole life, how would I honor it? Do 1 small act that fits that sentence. End the day by writing what worked, what I learned, what I'll try tomorrow. Routines aren't cages, they're rails that carry you through the fog. Door 5. Edit your environment, not your willpower. It's kinder and smarter to design your space than to fight your impulses all day. Put friction down for good habits. Make starting easy. Put friction up for distractions. Make avoidance inconvenient. Change 1 cue today. 1 habit you want more of, 1 you want less of. Door 6. Build a tiny circle of safety. You don't need a crowd. You need 2 kinds of people, a witness and a companion. Someone who checks in kindly. Someone who's changing too. Trade notes. Share small wins. Laugh at the awkward parts. Keep it brief. Momentum loves brevity. Door 7. Practice courage and kindness together. Courage without kindness turns hard. Kindness without courage turns passive. Practice both in the same breath. Each day write, today I was brave when today I was kind when If you miss a day, don't start over. Just write, I'm still in, and keep going. Here are a few lenses that make starting over gentler. Replace judgment with description. Instead of, I'm lazy, try, I delayed for 20 minutes, then did 10. Description is data. Data helps. Judgment doesn't. Treat fear as a bodyguard, not a boss. Fear shouts because it cares. Say, thank you for trying to protect me. Then let it ride in the back seat. You're driving. Separate identity from outcome. If a seed doesn't sprout on Tuesday, you don't call it a failure. You water it Wednesday. Be the gardener, not the weather. Start where your feet are. Most anxiety lives in imaginary futures. When you return to the present, hands, breath, task, life becomes workable again. Ask better questions. What's wrong with me is a trap. Try, what's one thing that would help? Or, what would make this 2% easier? Gentler questions bring wiser answers. Use the rule of firsts. Do the first thing first. 1 small, true step, not the impressive one. Wash 1 dish. Write 1 line. Make 1 call. First steps pull the next behind them. Let endings end. We keep one foot in old doorways just in case. But growth can't walk with both feet in different rooms. Grieve kindly. Close the door with gratitude. Then notice the light under the next one. Keep a humble scoreboard. 3 boxes. Moved my body, moved my dream, was kind to people. If you check 2 out of 3, you're growing. If all 3, celebrate with a glass of water and a smile. Expect resistance, from others and from yourself. When you change, you stop playing your old role in other people's stories. Some will cheer, some won't. That's okay. Keep going kindly. Remember, progress feels boring. Dramas feel dramatic. Real progress feels like quietly showing up. If your day looks ordinary, that's a good sign. Ordinary is where extraordinary hides. I've met thousands of people through the years, in classrooms, on trains, in moments of despair. And you know what I've learned? Every one of us carries a silent ache. But inside that ache lives a quiet hope, a voice that says, "I'm not done yet." Life doesn't ask us to be fearless. It only asks that we be willing to begin clumsily, willing to tell the truth gently, willing to trade the armor that kept us safe for the likeness that lets us move. You don't need a perfect plan. Just take the next right step and trust the path to reveal itself as you walk. We talk about second chances as if the calendar hands them out, but a chance isn't a date. It's a decision. You don't find a second life, you build it, with attention, with daily repairs, with the quiet dignity of showing up when no one is clapping. When I look back at that young man in the shabby room on 56th Street, I don't feel pity. I feel gratitude, because his pain became the seed of my purpose. And that's the paradox of beginning again. You think you're returning to the start, but really, you're returning to yourself. The self that was curious, kind, and brave in small ways. So wherever you are, whatever has broken or changed in your life, don't be afraid to begin again. You're not rebuilding ruins. You're uncovering strength you didn't know you had. You are not too late. You are right on time for your own new beginning. And as the last words settle, remember this. Tomorrow may never come, but today is here, waiting for you to live it.